Breaking right now, an on-air crisis at GB News after one of its main contributors revealed live on air, or at least claimed live on air, that Doria Ragland had indeed gone to prison, which would suggest why she abandoned her daughter Meghan Markle for all of those teenage years, allowing her to be raised solo by her father Thomas Markle, who remains stricken in hospital, having been ditched by both women. Now, remember, this is an accusation that has at least been heavily hinted at before, including by Tom Bower, who wrote the book Revenge on Meghan's previous life. At the same time, exactly what went down has been shrouded in secrecy. But Carol Malone just decided to go there on GB News, leading to an astonishing on-air confrontation with her left-wing Meghan Markle supporting rival. But
maybe that's why she brought up the king's prostate, to try and change the conversation quickly.
Exactly. And it's also like, he doesn't really, he's made it clear he doesn't want anyone to know the details of his cancer treatment. Yeah. So, Doria, are we ever going to find out the truth, Tash, about what she got up to? Of course, both Lady Colin Campbell and Samantha Markle on special episodes here on Outspoken have revealed a lot about what was going on during those years, which did seem to include at least the proximity to drugs. What do you make of this new on-air claim?
Oh, I've got to be careful here, Dan. But I think it's obvious that Doria was away for a large amount of time, which would be consistent, say, with a prison sentence. I've also heard stories over the years that she joined a hippie commune, which is also believable when you think of Doria. She looks like someone that would be a hippie. She just decided she didn't want to be a mum anymore. You know, you do read stories like this. I mean, as I said, it's clearly obvious that she was away for a length of time. She does seem to have been around her daughter when she was younger, and then she got back involved when Meghan was an older teenager. You saw her at her graduation. So there is a big gap in between that I think would have been consistent with that. But at the moment, it's speculation. I don't think it's going to be revealed, because I think if it is true, it would have been covered up. I can't remember, but I'm pretty certain that when these rumors first started circulating, they said that for Doria to have been flown over and been inside the royal palaces and being treated as a member of the family, if she had a criminal conviction, there is issues there. So I honestly don't know. There's so many stories that go around regarding this woman, but someone's obviously not telling the truth. And it seems there has been quite a big cover up. If she'd have joined a hippie commune, I think we would have heard more about it. I think there has been some sort of a patch job, because it wouldn't have looked good, the new Duchess of Sussex. Her mother's an ex-jailbird. So I think there has been obviously tweakage of people's information, but I'm not sure we're ever going to find out.
And I think probably the same applies to claims about a Meghan Markle sex tape. I mean, there have definitely been like topless pictures and some naked pictures and videos, which I had been shown in the past, which were part of that leak. But now an older clip is going newly viral, Tash. And this is from Kevin Blatt, a celebrity tape broker. And it is from the Your Mom's House podcast, where he describes, or at least claims, to have received a call in 2018 from a woman saying that she possesses a 4-year-old sex tape of Meghan about to marry a prince. So, of course, the implication is that it's Meghan Markle, although there is no confirmation of that. And it alleges that the tape involves oral sex filmed by a Florida photographer. Okay, half of you watching this are not subscribed to Dan Wootton Outspoken, and the best way you can support what we do is by hitting that subscribe button. It is completely free, and turn on the notification bell to be alerted to our new episodes.
It's Possible, isn't it? Of course. Meghan doesn't come across like she's been a shrinking violet her whole life. There are photographs which are not doctored, as far as I am aware, with her being on yachts. There are photographs that I've seen as well where these aren't the ones. There are some ones where you can quite clearly see it's AI, but she is on yachts with other beautiful young women. One of them happens to be Epstein's former girlfriend. There's a couple of photographs because they all knew each other. So, yes, is it possible there's something like that out there? Absolutely. Again, do I think that Meghan has had help covering up certain things from her past when she got involved with the royal family? Yes, I would imagine so. Are we ever going to find out the truth? I don't know. It depends who covered it up. But yes, I wouldn't be surprised. And that's not just because of my dislike of Meghan, but I think it's from what I understand of the parties she used to frequent, the sort of people she used to hang around with. I mean, Soho House is definitely a place for young, beautiful people to meet older, richer executives. People, if you scratch my back, I can scratch yours. That sort of, not all Soho House, but it's obviously a place where things like that do go on. So I wouldn't be shocked, but again, I don't think we're going to find out the truth. I think that's been locked away in a box somewhere with a key alongside whether Doria Ragland has done prison time.
Tash, there's been so much bizarre stuff PR wise from Harry and Meghan this week. Clearly an unhappy couple, as we saw in the With Love Meghan holiday celebration. But I think one of the biggest oddities was this piece from People magazine. Now, we know People magazine is like the official mouthpiece for the Sussexes. I've said it for a long time, but confirmation this week that 20% of the website traffic for Was Never comes directly from People magazine. So, I mean, there's a symbiotic relationship between People and Harry and Meghan. They need to keep People sweet because it's sending potential customers to Was Never. And let's be honest, there's not many potential customers, so they desperately need it. But this article was totally bizarre. Let me just take you through it. The flurry of mini dramas underscores how the couple is still learning to navigate the Hollywood spotlight, after moving to the US in 2020. But friends say they weather it together. It never creates friction between them, a source tells People. They're fully aligned and always operate as a team. It never puts them at odds. While Meghan tends to dismiss outside chatter, what she herself calls just noise, Harry is known to take the commentary more to heart and remains especially protective of her. But Tash, utterly bizarre, given that what the headline reveals is that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are needing a holiday reset. And it's as if this was almost like a preemptive strike. They knew that people were going to see the very awkward on-screen connection. They knew all of the other stories that were coming. So they're like saying, oh yeah, things are really bad, but honestly, there's no friction. I mean, why say that? Like, you don't need to say that when everything's good. You don't have William and Catherine, for example, briefing to British newspapers. Oh, they're really happy together. Honestly, everything's fine, because it's like, we know it's fine.
Yeah. That is a definite thing, and I think that's always been a bit of their downfall. Even when they first became a couple, they had to be all over each other all the time, holding hands, even when they were meeting delegates and official events and things. I mean, it was just embarrassing, constantly those two pouring at each other and stroking each other and heavy petting each other. It was too much. So, of course, when they stopped doing that behavior, it became very, very noticeable. And now Harry and Meghan, all they seem to do is, I love him so much. Oh, no, oh, wait, I take that back. She never says she loves him. He loves me so much. That man loves me. They have a picture of them kissing over eating fish and chips and stuff. And it's just sickly sweet, over the top. If you are just genuinely happy in your relationship, you don't need to constantly convince the world that you are happy in that relationship. It just works. And I think there is a desperation, an air of desperation for these two to make themselves seem they're more in love than ever before. And often when you see that with celebrity couples, it's the final death blow. It is the final attempt to make everybody believe that they're happier. And then a year, sometimes less later, you get the divorce announcement. They don't seem happy. That is a perfect photograph right there. They couldn't be more further apart, but don't worry, they're still holding hands. Harry looks like he's on his phone. Neither of them care about the kid that's just going into a pumpkin patch, sadly, all by himself. They're not connected as parents, let alone as husband and wife. That's one of the saddest pictures I've ever seen of that family, honestly.
Now, Tash, the figures are in, and we knew it was going to be bad, but they are worse than bad. Thank you to the Salty Duchess for this, who's always done great work. Look at this, Tash. Launch day for With Love, Meghan, the holiday special, number 171. We're raised up ever so slightly for day 2, number 142. But the Salty Duchess said Netflix should know by now that even her sycophantic sucker squaddies can't save this car crash from herself. Her silly little vanity show ranking is beyond shocking. Queer Lips of Truth adding it is finished. Meghan Markle is finished. Failure. And I mean, Tash, these numbers are utterly damning.
I mean, Dan, you watched it. It was bad. I mean, I've watched. Well, I lie. I didn't watch the. No, I did. I did manage to get through all of it in the end. This to me was the worst episode because it was Christmas, because it was festive. Meghan managed to ruin Christmas. I mean, we should start calling her the Grinch. She took the joy out of advent calendars, out of wrapping, out of, I mean, even the Christmas crackers. She took putting confetti in Christmas crackers. Nobody does that, Meghan. Why? Because it will go absolutely everywhere, all over your food, in your drinks. Don't do it. Your hostess will not be very happy. But it was really bad. And yes, it was awkward. I'd say there was more awkwardness in that episode than what I had seen in any of the others. She and Naomi Osaka had me wanting to put a cushion over my face like a horror film. Both Naomi came across as really lovely, but the friction, honestly, it was just painful. Those two women couldn't be on different planes if they
More
tried.
if
It
they
was
tried.
just
Well, totally. And Tash, I was really taken by one of the moments that you picked out. You posted on X. Meghan was not impressed that Kelly, this is, the best mate, isn't it? Kelly's Ashvin, and her wreath got a compliment from the Netflix crew. And actually, when you look at the video that you picked out, Tash, it's really obvious. You're so correct. It's like she's massively thrown by that, isn't she? She's annoyed. It's like those two mates, and they obviously clowned around in the red pajamas together. They are only there to back her up. That's it. And she didn't like them stealing the attention at any moment.
No, she didn't. You could really see it. She was completely like, she didn't even look over at Kelly's wreath or anything. And I can't help but feel like a few people said as well, perhaps the Netflix crew was so sick of Meghan that they decided to wind her up. Oh, Kelly, we love your wreath, just to watch her reaction. She was the same on an episode with Daniel Martin, the crime makeup artist, when he made a little floral arrangement and he was getting compliments from the chef, David Chang, and then a few other people commented. And Meghan just walks away, just looks off like, you can just see it. She is that spoiled child that we saw wearing that fake crown at the kid's birthday party. She has to be the center of attention, and she did not like that one bit. It was definitely funny to watch, though.
And Princess Carparkle posted in regards to one of those moments that you spoke about, Tash, with Naomi Osaka, the tennis star. Meghan paints plates with Naomi, who looks like she'd rather be anywhere else. She must have owed someone a favor because they're almost 20 years apart in age. What could they possibly have in common? Making crafts cringe fest. And I mean, as Meghan's mole pointed out, Tash, this stupid idiot has never picked up a tennis racket in her entire life. You can tell by her spindly arms. But why did Meghan Markle mention tennis? Catherine is an incredible tennis player and has been playing for many years. Oh, it all makes sense, doesn't it? But she just couldn't stand Naomi Osaka, could she? Because Naomi Osaka is an actually successful woman with an actual talent playing tennis who has turned that talent into not a grift, but an actually genuinely successful career. as a fashion designer for Nike of really
Yeah.
interesting and daring tennis clothing. I mean, look, I'm no big fan of Naomi Osaka, don't know much about her, but what was very obvious is that Meghan didn't embrace her like she embraced loads of the other sycophants on the episode, the weirdos on the episode. She viewed her as a massive threat.
It was that bit, funnily enough, the clip that you've just shown, you could see when Meghan was like, "Yeah, but my drawings aren't great, and it's as good as, as me playing tennis." What she wanted then was Naomi to start going, "But your drawings are amazing, Meghan." Like everybody has to do. Everybody on that show has to be that sycophantic with her. They have to praise her, and Naomi didn't. And then that's when Meghan dragged on that conversation about tennis. There's so many references when it comes to Meghan and the Princess of Wales. She's clearly obsessed. We only saw recently there was an artist that Catherine had got to design her Together at Christmas Carol pamphlet, the service, the order of service last year. Meghan used that same artist on a recent post to do with her as ever stuff of all of the artists around the world that you could use. Meghan is so obsessed that every little thing that she says is going to be picked up by people now. People just look for it, and 9 times out of 10, people find it immediately. But yeah, that was a good catch. But yeah, she's right. Of course, Meghan would be now talking about tennis. I'm sure Archie will soon be playing tennis because Prince George plays tennis. And the obsession will carry on down through the children and getting the children to compete with the Wales children. That's why we saw them at that awful staged charity food prep place, wasn't it?
Exactly, for Thanksgiving. And by the way,
Mm.
if anyone served me the green wreath crudité plate, which Meghan gave Naomi Osaka, I'd be out of there. So no wonder Naomi was miserable with her. It's like, what? What? I've come to your
Yeah.
house for Christmas and you've served me raw broccoli on a crudité plate? I'd be miserable
Mm.
too.
Yeah, there's no amount of chili oil that was gonna save that dish, honestly. But don't forget, Dan, the amazing bit, the real festive bit wasn't just the broccoli or the asparagus. Meghan popped peas because it brings joy to people.
I know, we'd never thought of that, had we?
Honestly.
Now, we spoke about Carol Malone at the top of the show, Tash, in regards to the fact that she had dropped this, prison
Yeah.
bomb, the prison bombshell on
Go
GB
Carol.
News. Well, indeed. And you might say go Carol here as well, because I feel like what the Sussex squad are failing at these days are to keep trying to pin any criticism of their hero to racism. And it's something that worked in the mainstream media for a long time. I believe it's now trying to collapse. And I wanted to show you and sort of illustrate this collapsing in real time. And it came on the UK Jeremy Vine show. This wasn't hosted by Jeremy Vine, there's a fill-in host, but it's one of those shows, Tash, where members of the public call up. But they're usually planted, right? And this was
Yeah.
clearly a Sussex squad plant. But Tash, it's all they've got. And it
Yeah.
doesn't work anymore, does it? Like, it did sort of work. It tricked the mainstream media, the regime media in 2020 and 2021. It don't work
Mm.
anymore. Like, all of our horror and disgust, which, by the way, has been felt around the world about Meghan Markle doing absolutely nothing when her father has his leg amputated, like, none of it's about race.
No, of course it's not. It always has been. It's always come down to character. I mean, Harry is another person that people just don't like because of the things that he's done. It's the way he's treated people. It's got nothing to do with the fact that he married a biracial woman. It's because Harry has turned out to be a complete and utter jerk. In fact, since Harry has stepped away from the prince he was born and the man he's become, as it turns out, he's not a very nice man. And he has also chosen a wife who happens to be not a very nice person. And I think a lot of people picked up on that in the beginning because you started seeing the shift in Harry changing. And I don't think now, I was one of the people that thought, oh, it was Meghan manipulating him. No, I think she emboldened Harry because of her terrible behavior. She nurtured that out of Harry. I don't think that Meghan tricked Harry into becoming this terrible person that's been awful to his family. I think Meghan literally watered the seed that was already there. And the more confident that Harry got walking away from his staff, his family, his advisors, and the more he listened to his wife, who quite clearly still treats people awfully, he's just started going, oh, I can treat people like this and get away with it. And that's why those two are two peas in a pod, and they truly do deserve each other. So I don't think that they, and I hope that they don't divorce. I hope they stay together, because I don't see the point in them trying to ruin two other people's lives if
Yeah,
they move on and
indeed.
remarry.
There's a point where celebrity commentary stops being about the people involved and starts becoming a test of whether anyone is checking the facts. And that is exactly where this story gets interesting. The most striking part of this controversy isn't the lurid language surrounding Meghan Markle or her mother. It's the danger of a supposedly authoritative media platform allowing an explosive personal claim to enter the public conversation without the level of verification that such a claim demands. Let's be blunt. Saying that someone has been to jail is not harmless gossip. Neither are allegations involving an intimate recording. These are claims capable of damaging reputations long after the original broadcast, podcast, or social media post has disappeared from people's feeds. And there's a huge difference between someone alleged this and this happened. That distinction seems to vanish remarkably quickly in the online royal commentary ecosystem. The Meghan Markle story is particularly revealing because the public already comes with strong opinions. Supporters can interpret every controversy as another unfair attack, while critics can treat every sensational allegation as confirmation of what they already believe. That is precisely how misinformation becomes powerful. You don't need everyone to believe a claim. You only need enough people to repeat it. And once a dramatic accusation has been repeated hundreds or thousands of times, the eventual correction rarely travels as far as the original headline. The accusation gets remembered, the qualification gets forgotten. That, in my view, is the real media failure here. If a broadcaster makes an on-air error concerning a deeply personal allegation, the appropriate response isn't to shrug and say, well, it's celebrity news. The standard should be higher, not lower. At the same time, there is another uncomfortable truth for the audience. Outrage can be profitable. The more shocking the headline, the more clicks it can generate. The more unbelievable the allegation, the more people feel compelled to watch, share, and argue about it. And suddenly, the controversy itself becomes the product. That's why viewers should resist the temptation to decide what happened simply because one side of the internet is celebrating and the other side is furious. Ask the boring questions. What is the original source? Was the claim independently verified? Was there a correction? Was the wording an allegation, a joke, a mistake, or a statement presented as fact? And most importantly, what evidence actually exists? Those questions may not produce the most entertaining headline, but they are the difference between commentary and simply recycling somebody else's controversy. My opinion is straightforward. If a media organization makes a serious factual mistake, it should own it clearly and correct it just as prominently as it was originally broadcast. Anything less invites viewers to wonder whether accuracy mattered less than getting attention. And for the people making sensational allegations, the same principle applies. If you've got evidence, present it. If you don't dress speculation up as revelation. Because this story may ultimately tell us far more about the modern attention economy than it tells us about Meghan Markle, Doria Ragland, or anyone else at the center of it. The biggest question isn't what shocking secret has supposedly been uncovered. It's this: who benefits when the public becomes so distracted by the allegation that nobody stops to ask whether the allegation was ever properly established in the first place? And if that question makes you uncomfortable, perhaps that's exactly the question we should all be asking.